Have you ever felt completely surrounded by people yet still felt utterly alone? It's a strange paradox, isn't it? Solidarity in a crowd can feel like a mirage, while solitude can be a sanctuary. But what if I told you that the key to understanding this difference could transform your life? Imagine waking up one day and realizing that solitude doesn't have to be a prison. It can be a powerful tool for self-discovery and growth. Let's pause for a moment. Think about the last time you craved silence, just you and your thoughts. Was it peaceful or did it feel daunting? Now, consider the times you've been in a bustling room, yet felt disconnected. This contrast is where true wisdom lies. Every moment spent in solitude can be a chance to reflect, to dive deep into your own mind, while loneliness can suffocate and distract. How do you navigate these waters? How do you turn solitude into a source of strength rather than a pit of despair? Stay with me as we unravel the layers of these two experiences. You might just discover the wisdom you didn't know you were seeking. If you're looking for more emotional balance, clarity in decision-making, and want to learn how to handle life better, this content is for you. So go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because with each video you'll grow stronger on the inside and see life with greater wisdom. Definition of loneliness. Loneliness is a concept we often hear tossed around, but what does it really mean? For me, it's that unsettling experience of feeling isolated or disconnected from others. You know, the kind of feeling that creeps in during a crowded room where everyone seems engaged, yet you feel like a ghost? It's not just being alone, it's a profound sense of desolation that can grip your heart and mind. I found myself in situations where, despite being surrounded by friends, I felt a heavy weight of solitude. It's a strange juxtaposition, isn't it? The experience of loneliness can manifest in countless ways. Sometimes it strikes when you least expect it, leaving you grappling with a sense of abandonment. I remember a time when I moved to a new city for work. I was surrounded by bustling streets and vibrant life, yet I felt like I was in a bubble. I missed the familiar faces and casual conversations that used to be part of my daily life. It's as if the world is moving around you and you're stuck in one place, yearning for connection. Loneliness can also trigger a myriad of emotions. For me, it often arrives hand in hand with sadness and anxiety. It's that nagging feeling that no matter how hard you try, you can't bridge the gap between yourself and others. I've experienced those sleepless nights where I'd replay old conversations in my head, wishing I could turn back time and reconnect. It's exhausting both emotionally and mentally. What's even more intriguing is how loneliness can lead to feelings of helplessness. When I feel lonely, it often feels as though I'm trapped in a cycle that I can't escape. I start to doubt my worth and wonder if I'm destined to feel this way forever. It's a slippery slope that can sneak up on you, where isolation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You withdraw more and more, and before you know it, you're deep in a pit of despair, longing for connection. Ultimately, loneliness is more than just a fleeting feeling. It's a complex emotional state that can have serious implications for our mental health. I've read about its impact on others, and it's alarming to realize how pervasive this experience is in our society. It's easy to dismiss loneliness as a personal issue, but it's a shared human experience that deserves attention and care. Definition of solitude. On the flip side of the coin, we have solitude, which is often misunderstood. Solitude is not merely being alone. It's a state of being alone intentionally and positively. When I think about solitude, I'm reminded of those quiet moments when I choose to retreat from the chaos of life. It's a conscious decision to step back, allowing myself the space to breathe and reflect. There's something almost sacred about those moments of stillness, don't you think? I've come to appreciate solitude as a gift rather than a curse. In a world that constantly demands our attention, carving out time for ourselves can feel revolutionary. I remember a weekend where I decided to unplug and spend time in nature. I found myself sitting by a lake, soaking in the tranquility. It was in that moment of solitude that I felt a deep sense of peace wash over me. There were no distractions, just me and my thoughts, and it was liberating. In solitude, I often find the opportunity for reflection. It's during these quiet moments that I can process my experiences and emotions. I've learned that solitude can be a powerful catalyst for self-discovery. There's something about being alone that allows you to peel back the layers and confront your innermost thoughts and feelings. It's a chance to ask myself the tough questions without the noise of the outside world interfering. Moreover, solitude can lead to profound self-knowledge. I've kept a journal for years, and many of my insights have emerged during moments of solitude. Writing down my thoughts helps me clarify my feelings and understand my motivations. It's almost like having a conversation with myself, where I can explore my dreams and fears in a safe space. Solitude allows for this kind of introspection, which is invaluable for personal growth. Ultimately, embracing solitude is a conscious choice that can enrich our lives. It's a reminder that being alone doesn't have to equate to loneliness. Instead, it can open the door to deeper connections with ourselves and enhance our understanding of the world around us. In a society that often glorifies busyness, choosing solitude can be a radical act of self-care. Emotions associated with loneliness. The emotional landscape of loneliness can be quite treacherous. When I find myself feeling lonely, it often manifests as a heavy shroud of sadness. It's an overwhelming weight that seems to seep into every aspect of my life. I've noticed how loneliness can cloud my judgment and skew my perception of reality. Everything feels darker and I struggle to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Anxiety is another unwelcome companion that often accompanies loneliness. When I'm feeling isolated, my mind races with worries and insecurities. It's as if loneliness amplifies my fears, making them feel more imminent and real. I find myself questioning my relationships and my place in the world. It's a vicious cycle. Loneliness breeds anxiety, and anxiety deepens the sense of loneliness. Despair is perhaps the most daunting emotion tied to loneliness. I've experienced moments where I felt utterly hopeless, as if I were trapped in a cage of my own making. It's a dark place to be, where you start to believe that connection is a distant dream rather than a reachable reality. I've had nights when I'd lie awake, contemplating my worth and whether anyone truly cared about me. The silence becomes deafening, and in those moments, despair can feel all-consuming. I've also observed that loneliness can foster a sense of disconnection not just from others but from myself. It's as if I'm watching my life unfold from a distance, unable to fully engage with my emotions or experiences. I've found it challenging to tap into my passions or interests when I'm in this state. The things that once brought me joy feel muted, as if they're shrouded in a fog of isolation. Understanding these emotions associated with loneliness has been a crucial part of my journey. It's forced me to confront the depths of my feelings and recognize that loneliness is a legitimate experience. I've learned to acknowledge it without judgment, allowing myself to feel these emotions fully. By doing so, I've been able to navigate the complexities of loneliness with greater compassion and understanding, both for myself and for others who might be facing similar struggles. Emotions associated with solitude. In stark contrast to the emotions tied to loneliness, solitude often brings a sense of peace and tranquility. When I choose solitude, I find myself enveloped in a comforting silence that feels nurturing. It's a state of being where I can breathe deeply and let go of the pressures of the outside world. In those moments, I'm reminded that it's okay to slow down and simply exist without the constant demands of everyday life. Reflection is another powerful emotion that arises from solitude. I've discovered that when I allow myself the space to think, I can process my experiences and clarify my thoughts. It's in this quietude that I often stumble upon insights that had eluded me in the chaos of daily life. I remember a time when I sat in a park watching the world go by, and suddenly felt a surge of clarity about a decision I had been grappling with. Solitude can provide the mental clarity we so often seek. Autonomy is a feeling I cherish during moments of solitude. There's something empowering about choosing to be alone and embracing that choice fully. I've realized that solitude grants me the freedom to explore my interests and passions without the influence of others. Whether it's diving into a new book or experimenting with a creative project, solitude provides the canvas for self-expression. Moreover, solitude fosters a deep sense of self-knowledge. When I'm alone, I'm forced to confront my thoughts and feelings head-on. It's an opportunity to sift through my beliefs and values, discovering what truly resonates with me. I've often emerged from periods of solitude with a stronger sense of identity, feeling more grounded in who I am. It's a journey of self-exploration that can be transformative. Ultimately, the emotions associated with solitude are enriching and empowering. They remind me that solitude is not something to be feared but embraced. It's an opportunity to cultivate a deeper connection with myself, allowing me to grow, reflect, and thrive. In a world that often promotes constant connectivity, choosing solitude can be a profound act of self-love and acceptance. Social impact of loneliness. The social impact of loneliness is a complex and multifaceted issue that deserves our attention. I've often pondered the effects of loneliness on interpersonal relationships. It's striking how feelings of isolation can create barriers between individuals. I've experienced moments where I wanted to reach out to friends but felt too disconnected to make that first move. It's almost as if loneliness erects walls that prevent genuine connection. Moreover, loneliness can create a ripple effect that extends beyond the individual. When I reflect on my own experiences, I realize that my feelings of isolation can influence those around me. Friends and family might sense my withdrawal, and it can create tension in relationships. I've seen how loneliness can breed misunderstandings, causing rifts that could have been easily bridged with open communication. The implications for mental health are alarming as well. I've read studies that link loneliness to increased rates of anxiety and depression. It's sobering to think that the sense of isolation I sometimes feel could have such profound effects on my overall well-being. I've had conversations with friends who have shared similar struggles, reinforcing the idea that loneliness is not just an individual experience but a collective concern. That benefits of solitude, an opportunity for self-reflection and personal growth. When I think about solitude, I can't help but see it as a double-edged sword. On one hand, many people fear being alone, equating it with loneliness. On the other hand, I've come to appreciate solitude as a powerful ally in my journey of self-discovery. It's in those quiet moments, free from the noise of the world, that I find the space to reflect on who I am and what I want from life. Those moments spent in solitude allow me to sift through my thoughts without the distractions that often cloud my judgment. I remember a time when I took a weekend trip by myself to a cabin in the woods. It was a deliberate decision to step away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Initially, I felt a twinge of anxiety about being alone, but as the hours passed, I began to embrace the silence. Surrounded by nature, I found clarity in my thoughts. I reflected on my goals, my relationships, and even my past mistakes. Without the usual interruptions, I was able to think deeply and honestly about my life, something I hadn't prioritized in a while. The benefits of solitude extend beyond mere reflection. They also lay the groundwork for significant personal growth. In those quiet moments, I discovered my strengths and weaknesses, and I was able to confront aspects of myself that I'd been avoiding. For instance, I learned to appreciate my own company, realizing that I didn't need external validation to feel fulfilled. This self-acceptance has empowered me to pursue my passions with more vigor and authenticity. Moreover, solitude has taught me resilience. Sometimes facing my thoughts alone can be daunting, but it's also where I find the strength to overcome challenges. I've learned that it's okay to sit with discomfort, to acknowledge my fears and uncertainties. By doing so, I've been able to emerge from those moments feeling more equipped to handle whatever life throws my way. Solitude has become a refuge, a space where I can recharge and emerge stronger. Ultimately, the opportunity for self-reflection and personal growth that solitude provides is invaluable. It has transformed the way I view my life and my choices. Instead of running from my thoughts or seeking constant distractions, I now embrace those moments of quiet as essential to my well-being. Solitude is not just a state of being alone, it's a vital part of my personal development journey. Cultural perceptions of loneliness, how different societies view solitude. When I delve into the cultural perceptions of loneliness, I realize that it's a complex tapestry woven from different societal norms and values. In some cultures, being alone is viewed with suspicion, as if solitude equates to failure or social inadequacy. In others, it's revered as a sign of introspection and depth. This divergence fascinates me because it shapes how we all experience and interpret our moments of solitude. Growing up, I noticed that in my own community there was a strong emphasis on social gatherings and communal activities. Being alone was often seen as a weakness, and I remember feeling pressure to constantly surround myself with friends and family. This narrative certainly contributed to my initial fear of solitude. However, as I explored other cultures, I discovered that in places like Japan, solitude is often celebrated. The concept of Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, emphasizes the restorative power of spending time alone in nature, reflecting a more positive view of solitude. In contrast, Western societies often celebrate individualism, which can lead to a paradox. While we value independence, the fear of being alone still looms large. I've come to see that this conflict can create a distortion in how we perceive our own solitude. It's easy to feel isolated when surrounded by constant social media updates and curated lives of others. This pressure can amplify feelings of loneliness, even when we're not physically alone. Interestingly, I found that different cultures also have varying rituals around solitude. In some indigenous cultures, solitude is seen as a rite of passage, a time for young people to connect with their inner selves and the natural world. This contrasts sharply with more modern perspectives that often push individuals to fill their schedules with activities and social obligations. Observing these differences has encouraged me to challenge my own assumptions about solitude. Ultimately, understanding cultural perceptions of loneliness and solitude has broadened my perspective. It has helped me appreciate that my experiences are not universal and that different societies have rich traditions that honor the complexity of being alone. Embracing these insights has made my own moments of solitude feel less isolating and more like a shared human experience. Cultural perceptions of solitude. the valuation of alone time in various traditions. As I explore the cultural perceptions of solitude, I'm struck by how different traditions have embraced the concept of being alone as a valuable experience. While some societies stigmatize solitude, others celebrate it as a pathway to wisdom and enlightenment. This dichotomy makes me reflect on my own relationship with solitude and how it has been shaped by cultural narratives. In many Eastern philosophies, solitude is often associated with spiritual growth. Take Buddhism, for instance, where meditation and contemplation are fundamental practices. The emphasis on finding inner peace through solitude has led me to appreciate how being alone can foster a deeper connection with oneself. I've experimented with meditation and I can attest to the transformative power of sitting in silence, allowing my thoughts to flow freely without judgment. Conversely, in Western cultures, the perception of solitude has often been more conflicted. While individualism is celebrated, there's also a lingering fear of isolation. I've often felt this tension myself, caught between the desire for personal space and the societal pressure to be socially active. This internal struggle highlights the need for a balanced perspective on solitude, one that acknowledges its benefits while also recognizing the potential downsides of excessive isolation. Interestingly, I've noticed how various artistic traditions have glorified solitude. Many writers, painters, and musicians have created some of their most profound work during periods of isolation. Reflecting on my own creative endeavors, I now understand how moments of solitude can spark inspiration. Those quiet hours spent alone with my thoughts often lead to bursts of creativity that I wouldn't have accessed in the midst of social distractions. Ultimately, the cultural valuation of solitude has encouraged me to shift my perspective. Rather than viewing alone time as something to be feared or avoided, I now see it as a precious opportunity for growth and exploration. By embracing the lessons from various traditions, I've come to cherish my moments of solitude as a means of connecting with my true self. Loneliness in modern times, how technology can increase feelings of isolation. In our hyper-connected world, I've found that loneliness has taken on new dimensions, primarily due to technology. While social media and instant messaging have made it easier to connect with others, they've also created a paradox where many of us feel more isolated than ever. I often ponder how this digital age has transformed our experiences of connection and solitude. Scrolling through social media feeds, I've noticed a peculiar trend. The more I engage online, the more disconnected I sometimes feel. It's easy to get caught up in the curated lives of others, creating an illusion of connection while simultaneously deepening my sense of loneliness. I've realized that the likes and comments I receive can't replace the depth of face-to-face interactions. It's a strange irony that the very tools designed to connect us can also amplify feelings of isolation. Moreover, I've observed that technology can create an environment where we're constantly bombarded with information, making it challenging to find moments of true solitude. The notifications from my phone often pull me away from the quiet reflection I crave. I've had to set boundaries around my technology use to carve out space for myself. It's become increasingly clear that I need to prioritize undistracted time to reconnect with my thoughts and feelings. Another aspect that weighs on my mind is the impact of remote work and online learning. While these advancements offer flexibility, they also diminish the organic social interactions that occur in traditional settings. I've felt the effects of this shift myself. The casual conversations and spontaneous connections that once enriched my life have become scarce. It's a challenge I've had to navigate, seeking out opportunities for real-life interactions amidst the convenience of virtual communication. Ultimately, the rise of technology in our lives presents a complex relationship with loneliness. While it offers new avenues for connection, it also has the potential to create a deeper sense of isolation. I've learned to embrace the balance between the digital world and my need for authentic connections, recognizing that navigating this modern landscape requires intentionality and self-awareness. Practices to cultivate solitude: meditation, journaling, and creative activities. In my quest to embrace solitude, I've discovered that cultivating intentional alone time is crucial for my well-being. Through various practices, I've learned to turn solitude from a source of anxiety into a sanctuary for self-discovery. 3 practices that have been particularly transformative for me are meditation, journaling, and engaging in creative activities. Meditation has become a cornerstone of my solitude practice. At first, I was apprehensive about sitting in silence with my thoughts, but I quickly realized that this stillness is where I find clarity. By focusing on my breath and simply observing my thoughts, I've learned to quiet the noise in my mind. This practice has not only enhanced my ability to be present but has also deepened my self-awareness. I now look forward to my meditation sessions as a time to reconnect with myself. Journaling is another powerful tool I've integrated into my routine. Writing down my thoughts and feelings allows me to process my experiences and gain insights into my emotions. It's in those quiet moments with my journal that I often uncover patterns in my thinking or realizations about my life that I hadn't consciously acknowledged. This practice has become a form of dialogue with myself, where I can explore my fears, aspirations, and everything in between. Engaging in creative activities has also been a vital part of cultivating solitude. Whether it's painting, loneliness, and physical health. It's fascinating how our emotional state can impact our physical health. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it can actually manifest in physical ailments. Research has shown that people who experience chronic loneliness often have higher levels of stress hormones in their bodies, which can lead to a slew of health issues. I've read studies indicating that loneliness is linked to conditions like heart disease and weakened immune systems. When you think about it, it makes sense. Our emotional well-being is intricately connected to our physical state, and feeling isolated can really take a toll on us. When I reflect on this, I can't help but think about the elderly population. Many older adults experience loneliness, especially after losing loved ones or moving into assisted living. The physical consequences of this emotional state can be profound. It's heartbreaking to realize that loneliness can contribute to a decline in physical health, creating a vicious cycle. The more isolated they feel, the less likely they are to engage in activities that promote health and well-being. It's a tough spot to be in, and I can only imagine how difficult it must be to break free from that cycle. Moreover, loneliness can also affect sleep patterns. I've noticed that when I'm feeling lonely, it's harder for me to drift off at night. The mind races, and those feelings of isolation can lead to insomnia. A lack of sleep, in turn, can exacerbate feelings of stress and anxiety, creating a snowball effect that compounds the issue. It's a real struggle, and I've come to understand how crucial it is to address these feelings before they snowball into something more serious. Interestingly, loneliness has been compared to smoking in terms of its health risks. Just as smoking can lead to a variety of diseases, chronic loneliness can increase the likelihood of developing health problems. It's a stark reminder that our emotional landscape plays a significant role in our overall health. Sometimes I find myself wondering if we could start treating loneliness with the same seriousness we afford to physical ailments. After all, addressing our emotional health should be just as important as taking care of our bodies. Ultimately, understanding the connection between loneliness and physical health is vital. It's not just about feeling sad, it's about recognizing how those feelings can lead to serious health consequences. By fostering connections and addressing feelings of isolation, we can not only improve our emotional state but also bolster our physical health. It's a reminder of how intertwined our lives are. Our mental and emotional well-being directly influences our physical state and vice versa. Solitude and creativity. Solitude. There's something truly magical about being alone, isn't there? I've often found that when I take the time to be by myself, my creativity flourishes. It's in those quiet moments, free from distractions, that I can really tap into my thoughts and ideas. Whether I'm writing, painting, or just daydreaming, solitude often acts as a catalyst for my creativity. It's like the universe opens up, and I can explore the depths of my imagination without interruption. I've come to appreciate that solitude provides a space for reflection and exploration. When I'm alone, I can dive deep into my thoughts and feelings, sifting through ideas that might not surface in the hustle and bustle of daily life. I remember a time when I went on a solo retreat. It was just me, a notebook, and some beautiful scenery. The ideas flowed like water, and I felt a surge of inspiration that I hadn't experienced in a long time. It's as if being alone allows the mind to roam freely, unencumbered by external pressures or expectations. Furthermore, solitude can encourage risk-taking in creative endeavors. Without the fear of judgment, I find myself willing to try new things and experiment with different styles. When I'm surrounded by others, there's often an unspoken pressure to conform or produce something that meets their standards. In solitude, I can let go of that pressure and just create for the sake of creation. It's liberating. I've discovered that some of my best work comes from those moments when I'm free to explore without boundaries. It's interesting to think about how many great artists, writers, and thinkers have embraced solitude as a part of their creative process. Many of them sought out time alone to cultivate their ideas and hone their craft. I often wonder if their masterpieces would have come to life in a different context, surrounded by the noise of the world. There's a reason why so many creative minds advocate for solitude. It creates an environment where innovation can thrive. In the end, solitude is not just about being alone, it's about finding a space where creativity can blossom. I've learned that by embracing those quiet moments, I can unlock new ideas and perspectives that enrich my life and work. Solitude, for me, is a cherished companion in my creative journey, reminding me that sometimes, the best inspiration comes from within. Differences in choice: loneliness versus solitude. When I think about the contrast between loneliness and solitude, it's fascinating to consider how these states of being can feel so different, even when they both involve being alone. Loneliness often feels imposed upon us, a heavy cloak of isolation that we didn't choose. It's that sinking feeling of being disconnected from others, even when surrounded by people. In contrast, solitude is a conscious choice, a decision to embrace time alone as a means of self-care and reflection. I've experienced both, and let me tell you, the difference is striking. In moments of loneliness, I often feel like a spectator in my own life. It's as if everyone else is moving along without me, and I'm stuck in a bubble watching from the outside. This feeling can be overwhelming, leading to a sense of despair and hopelessness. I found myself longing for connection, for someone to reach out and break that invisible barrier. It's a tough place to be, and it can feel like there's no way out. The weight of that loneliness can be suffocating, and it's disheartening to think that it's not always a choice. On the flip side, solitude is something I actively seek out. It's become a sanctuary for me, a space where I can recharge and reconnect with myself. I remember one particular weekend when I decided to spend the entire time alone. I turned off my phone, brewed a pot of tea, and settled into my favorite chair with a book. It was bliss. I had the freedom to explore my thoughts without distractions, and I emerged feeling refreshed and inspired. That's the beauty of solitude. It's a choice that empowers us to take control of our own well-being. Interestingly, the social stigma surrounding loneliness often makes it difficult for people to acknowledge their feelings. Many of us feel pressured to appear socially connected, even when we're struggling internally. This can create a cycle of shame, where we hide our loneliness instead of addressing it. Solitude, on the other hand, is often celebrated. Society tends to view it as a sign of self-awareness and strength. I've found that embracing solitude has helped me cultivate a healthier relationship with myself, allowing me to break free from the constraints of societal expectations. The distinction between loneliness and solitude is essential for understanding our emotional landscape. By recognizing that we can choose solitude, we can also learn to cope with moments of loneliness more effectively. It's all about perspective. Embracing solitude as a positive experience can help us navigate the challenges of loneliness when they arise. Ultimately, it's about finding balance, understanding when to seek company and when to cherish the gift of our own company. The psychology of loneliness. The psychology of loneliness is a complex and often misunderstood topic. It's not merely about being alone, it's about the profound emotional experience that can accompany that state. I've delved into the psychological aspects of loneliness, and it's intriguing to see how our minds process feelings of isolation. It often stems from a perceived lack of social connections, which can lead to feelings of sadness, anxiety, and worthlessness. Understanding these underlying mechanisms helps us address loneliness more effectively. One key aspect of loneliness is the discrepancy between our desired and actual social connections. I felt this disparity myself, wanting to connect with others but feeling like there's a barrier preventing that connection. It's this gap that can lead to feelings of loneliness. The mind starts to spiral, dwelling on negative thoughts and self-doubt. I've learned that acknowledging these feelings is the first step toward breaking the cycle. It's important to recognize that loneliness doesn't define us. It's a temporary state that we can work through. Interestingly, loneliness can also affect our cognitive processes. Research suggests that prolonged feelings of loneliness can impair our ability to think clearly and make decisions. I've noticed that when I'm feeling lonely, my mind tends to focus on the negative aspects of my life, making it harder to see the positives. It's like wearing a pair of glasses that distort my perception of reality. By understanding this psychological aspect, I can take proactive steps to shift my mindset and break free from the grip of loneliness. Additionally, loneliness can have a ripple effect on our relationships with others. When we're feeling isolated, we may withdraw from social interactions, which only exacerbates the problem. I've experienced this firsthand. The more lonely I feel, the less inclined I am to reach out to friends or family. It's a common reaction, but it can create a cycle of isolation that's challenging to escape. Recognizing this pattern has helped me to push through those feelings and seek connection, even when it feels difficult. At its core, understanding the psychology of loneliness is about recognizing that it's a universal experience. We all face moments of loneliness, and acknowledging these feelings is crucial for our mental health. By exploring the underlying causes and effects, we can develop healthier coping mechanisms and foster connections that combat loneliness. It's a journey, but one that's worth taking for our emotional well-being. The psychology of solitude. As we wrap up our exploration of solitude versus loneliness, let's take a moment to reflect. Solitude isn't just about being alone. It's a powerful state where we can truly connect with ourselves, nurture our thoughts, and ignite our creativity. It's in these moments of solitude that we can cultivate resilience and clarity, discovering who we are beneath the noise of the world. Now think about your own life. Are you finding moments of solitude to recharge and reflect? Or are you caught in the trap of loneliness? What steps can you take today to embrace solitude and transform your perspective? Remember, the Stoics believed that our thoughts shape our reality. So let's shift our mindset. Instead of fearing solitude, let's celebrate it. What if you dedicated just 10 minutes a day to embrace your own company? How might that change your outlook, your creativity, your life? I challenge you to embark on this journey of self-discovery. Share your experiences in the comments below. Have you ever found joy in solitude? Let's keep this conversation going. Your thoughts matter, and together we can unlock the wisdom of the Stoics for modern life. Keep seeking, keep growing, and remember, solitude is your ally.